The chainsaw's roar cut through the morning silence like a scream. Sarah pressed her face against the kitchen window, watching in horror as her neighbor Karen methodically carved through the 6-foot privacy fence that had taken 3 months to install. Wooden chunks scattered across the manicured lawn as Karen's teenage son cheered from behind her. "Mom, you're actually doing it?" But what Karen didn't know, what none of them knew, was that Sarah's ex-husband had left behind one final gift. When he moved out, something that would turn this entitled neighbor's pool party into a viral sensation. The first chunk of fence hit Sarah's pool deck at 7:47 a.m. on a Tuesday morning that started like any other. She'd been standing at her kitchen sink, ceramic coffee mug halfway to her lips, when the distant buzz of a chainsaw made her freeze. The sound was coming from her backyard. Sarah Martinez had lived at 1247 Maple Grove Drive for exactly 3 years, 2 months, and 16 days. She knew because she'd been counting down to the day she could finally afford to move. Somewhere Reenware that didn't share a property line with Karen Whitmore, the woman who had just declared war on her fence. "No way," Sarah whispered, setting down her mug with trembling hands. Coffee splashed across her granite countertop as she pressed her face against the window. No freaking way. But there she was, Karen Whitmore, 43 years old, president of the Maple Grove Homeowners Association, and Sarah's personal nightmare for the past 3 years. She stood in her pristine backyard wearing a pink tracksuit and wielding a Husqvarna chainsaw, like she was born to it. Her platinum blonde hair was pulled back in a severe ponytail, and even from 30 feet away, Sarah could see the determined set of her jaw. Behind Karen, her 17-year-old son Tyler was recording everything on his phone, whooping and hollering like he was watching a demolition derby. "Mom, you're actually doing it. This is going viral for sure." Sarah's hands shook as she fumbled. For her own phone, she had to document this. She had to the chainsaw a bit deeper into the cedar fence, sending splinters flying. A 6-foot section that had cost Sarah $400 to install wobbled dangerously. "Stop!" Sarah screamed, but the kitchen window muffled her voice. She was already running, bare feet slapping against hardwood floors as she raced toward the back door. She'd installed that fence specifically to keep Karen out, to create a barrier between their properties. After months of escalating conflicts over everything from property lines to the height of Sarah's garden gnomes, the sliding door stuck it, always stuck when she was in a hurry, and, by the time Sarah wrestled it open, Karen had already carved through the entire first section. The cedar boards crashed to the ground with a sound like breaking bones. "Karen." Sarah's voice cracked across the morning air. "What the hell are you doing?" Karen didn't even look up. She revved the chainsaw and moved to the next section. "Morning. Sarah, just making some improvements to our shared space." "Shared space?" Sarah's voice pitched higher. "That's my fence. On my property." "Actually," Karen called out over the motor's roar, "I had it surveyed. This fence is 6 inches over the property line." "You've been encroaching on my land for 3 years." Sarah's blood pressure spiked. She'd had the fence installed by professionals with proper permits and a survey. "That's impossible. I have the paperwork. I'm sure you do." Karen's voice dripped with condescension. "Unfortunately, your paperwork is wrong. I'll be sending you a bill for the land usage, by the way. 3 years of unlawful occupation at current market rates." Tyler lowered his phone long enough to smirk at Sarah. "Mom's lawyer says you owe us like $15,000. 15 Sarah's vision blurred. She'd been struggling to make ends meet since David left, working double shifts at the hospital just to keep up with the mortgage. The last thing she needed was a legal battle with the neighborhood's most litigious resident. Karen shut off the chainsaw and wiped sweat from her forehead. "Don't worry, sweetie. I'm not unreasonable. I'll settle for pool privileges." "Pool privileges?" "Tyler's having a graduation party next month. We'll need access to your pool area for the celebration." Karen gestured toward Sarah's backyard, where a pristine in-ground pool sparkled in the morning sun. "It's only fair, considering you've been stealing our land all this time." Sarah's mouth fell open. "You want to use my pool for a party? Just for the summer? Tyler and his friends? Maybe some of the neighbors? It's really the least you can..." To Karen's smile was razor sharp. "Unless you'd prefer to settle this in court," the chainsaw roared back to life before Sarah could respond. Another section of fence toppled, creating a gaping hole between their properties. Karen's manicured lawn now connected directly to Sarah's pool deck. "This is insane," Sarah muttered, but her voice was lost in the mechanical scream of the saw. She pulled out her phone and started recording, but Karen just waved at the camera like she was posing for a Christmas card. "Make sure to get my good side, dear." 20 minutes later, Sarah's entire back fence was gone. 3 years of privacy, $4,000 in materials and labor, reduced to a pile of cedar chips and bent nails. Karen cleaned the chainsaw blade with a pink towel and handed it to Tyler like she was passing him a garden hose. "There," she said, surveying her handiwork. "Much better now. We can be proper neighbors." Sarah stood in the wreckage of her fence, surrounded by wood chips and broken dreams. Her hands were shaking so badly she could barely hold her phone. "Karen, you can't just destroy someone's property." "Oh, but I can." Karen's voice was sugar-sweet poison, especially when that property is illegally encroaching on my land. "I have every right to remove structures from my property. The survey cost me $800, worth every penny." Karen pulled a folded document from her tracksuit pocket, certified by the county. "Your fence has been 6 inches over the line since day 1. Sarah's vision tunneled. She'd been so careful, so thorough. The original survey had been clear. But looking at the official document in Karen's hands, she saw the county seal, the surveyor's signature, the precise measurements that put her fence squarely on Karen's property. "This is impossible," she whispered. "What's impossible is that you thought you could get away with it." Karen's mask of neighborly concern finally slipped, revealing the cold calculation underneath. "Did you really think I wouldn't notice? Did you think I'd just let you steal my land forever?" Tyler was still recording, getting everything on video. "Mom, tell her about the pool party, right?" Karen's smile returned, predatory and wide. "Tyler's graduation party is in 3 weeks. We'll need the pool area from noon until midnight. I'll send you a formal request, but I'm sure you'll be accommodating." "I'll be what? Accommodating? Cooperative? Neighborly?" Karen stepped closer, and Sarah caught a whiff of expensive perfume mixed with chainsaw exhaust. "Because the alternative is a lawsuit that will cost you more than your house is worth. And trust me, sweetie, I always win." Sarah's phone buzzed. A text from her ex-husband, David. "Hope you're using the gift I left you. You're going to need it." She stared at the message, confused. David had moved out 6 months ago, taking half their furniture and all her trust in humanity. What gift? He'd left nothing behind but broken promises and a maxed-out credit card. Karen's voice cut through her thoughts. "Are we in agreement?" Sarah looked up from her phone, meeting Karen's cold blue eyes. Behind her, Tyler was already posting the fence destruction video to TikTok with the caption, "Mom Destroys," entitled "Neighbor's Illegal Fence." Hashtag Karen wins, hashtag property rights, #savage no. Sarah said quietly, "Excuse me, no. You cannot use my pool. You cannot hold a party in my backyard. And you're going to pay for every single board of that fence." Karen laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Oh, honey, you have no idea what you're dealing with. I've been fighting property disputes since before you were born. I've bankrupted 3 neighbors over fence lines and easements. I collect lawsuits, like some people collect stamps. Get off my property." "Your property," Karen gestured toward the demolished fence. "According to the county, you're standing on my property right now." Sarah's phone buzzed again. Another text from David. "Check the pool house. Behind the filter equipment, you'll thank me later, the pool house." Sarah had barely been inside since David left. She'd been too busy working, too busy grieving, too busy trying to hold her life together to worry about pool maintenance. But now, 3 weeks, Karen called out as she headed back toward her house. "Tyler's party is in 3 weeks. I'll expect full access to the pool area, and I'll be inviting the whole neighborhood. Consider it a peace offering." Tyler followed his mother, still recording. "This is going to get so many views." Mom totally owned her. Sarah stood alone in her backyard, surrounded by the wreckage of her fence and the ruins of her quiet life. Her hands had finally stopped shaking, but something else was building inside her chest. Not fear she'd been afraid of Karen for 3 years. Not anger was too simple for what she felt. This was something colder, something that had been growing since David left, since the bills started piling up, since every day became a struggle just to survive. Karen had just... The pool house stood like a forgotten monument in the corner of Sarah's backyard. She'd avoided it for months, unable to face the memories trapped inside. David had spent countless hours in there tinkering with pumps and filters, claiming he was maintaining the pool equipment while actually hiding from their crumbling marriage. Sarah's hands trembled as she pushed open the door. Was burned into her memory. Behind the filter equipment, David had said, Sarah squeezed past the humming pool pump, her phone's flashlight cutting through the dusty darkness. Cobwebs caught in her hair as she reached behind the massive filtration system, her fingers searching for something that shouldn't be there. Her hand touched metal, cold, smooth, and definitely not part of the pool equipment. "What the hell?" she whispered, pulling out a sleek black device about the size of a laptop. It looked like military hardware, all angles and intimidation. A yellow warning label was stuck to the side. Automated perimeter defense system, authorized personnel only. Sarah's heart pounded as she carried the device into the daylight. And what looked like a control panel. Everything was connected by thick cables that disappeared into the walls. Her phone rang. David's name flashed on the screen. "Found it yet?" His voice was different, excited, like he'd been waiting for this. "Call for months." "David, what is this thing?" "Remember when I got laid off from the defense contractor? When I said I was consulting for a few months before I found the new job?" Sarah's blood ran cold. David had been unemployed for 3 months before landing his current position. 3 months when he'd spent everyday job hunting while actually working on mysterious projects in the garage and pool house. "You stole this from your old job." "Borrowed." "Big difference." His laugh was bitter. "They owed me 6 months of back pay and a decent severance. It's a non-lethal crowd control system. The DoD spent $2 million developing it, then scrapped the program because it was too effective." Sarah stared at the device, her mind racing. Too effective how? Motion-triggered water cannons, pressure sensors, facial recognition. It can identify threats, track targets, and deliver precision water strikes with enough force to knock a grown man off his feet. "You installed a military-grade security system in our pool house. I installed insurance. I knew Karen would eventually make her move. She's been circling like a vulture since we moved in, waiting for the right moment to strike." She sank onto an overturned bucket, clutching the control device. "This is insane. You can't just..." "Can't what? Protect your property? Defend yourself against a neighbor who's been harassing you for 3 years. David's voice hardened. "Sarah, that woman has made your life hell. She's called the HOA on you 17 times. She's reported you to the city for imaginary violations. She's threatened to sue you over everything from your garden gnomes to your Christmas decorations. So you built a water cannon. Look, I know I screwed up. I know I was a terrible husband, and I know leaving was the coward's way out. But I couldn't stand watching her destroy you piece by piece. This is my gift to you." Sarah's thumb traced the device's sleek surface. A small screen flickered to life, displaying what looked like a detailed map of her backyard. Red dots moved across the display. Corinne and Tyler, still in their yard, probably planning their next violation of her privacy. How does it work? The system is already installed. Cameras cover every angle of your property. Motion sensors track movement. The water cannons are hidden in the pool house, the shed, and under the deck. When the system detects unauthorized intrusion, it calculates trajectory and delivers a targeted response. It shoots people with water, high-pressure streams, enough to knock them down, not enough to cause permanent damage. Think of it as a very aggressive sprinkler system. David paused. The best part? It's completely legal. You have every right to install security measures on your own property. Sarah's mind was spinning. What if someone gets hurt? The system is designed to be non-lethal. Worst-case scenario, someone gets soaked and bruised. She's going to claim you owe her $15,000 in land usage fees, plus legal costs. She'll drag you through court for months, maybe years. She'll put liens on your house, garnish your wages, and make your life a living hell. All while using your pool for her son's parties. Sarah closed her eyes. She'd been down this road before with Karen. Every dispute, every petty neighborhood squabble had ended the same way, with Sarah backing down to avoid the legal costs she couldn't afford. You really think this will work? I think Karen Whitmore is about to learn that actions have consequences. David's voice was grim. She spent 3 years terrorizing you because she knew you wouldn't fight back. But now you can fight back without saying a word. Sarah looked across her demolished fence line, where Karen was hosing down her chainsaw like she was washing dishes. The woman had destroyed 3 years of privacy and peace in 20 minutes, then demanded pool privileges as compensation. The sheer audacity was breathtaking. How do I turn it on? Are you sure? Once you activate the system, there's no going back. Sarah thought about the demolished fence, about Tyler's smug face and his TikTok video, about 3 years of harassment and intimidation, about the graduation party Karen was planning to throw in her backyard. I'm sure, press the red button. The system will run a diagnostic and come online. After that, it's completely automated. Anyone who enters your property without authorization gets a warning shot. If they don't leave, they get the full treatment. Sarah's finger hovered over the red button. This was crazy. This was probably illegal. This was definitely going to escalate the conflict beyond anything she'd imagined. But Karen had already escalated. She'd destroyed property, made threats, and planned to invade Sarah's space for her own entertainment. The woman had declared war. Sarah pressed the button. Camera feeds from around her. Property, motion tracking algorithms, pressure readings from the water cannons. It was like something from a science fiction movie, except it was real and it was in her backyard. System online, David said, as if he could see the display. Full perimeter coverage in 30 seconds. What happens now? Now you wait. Karen's planning her son's party for 3 weeks from now, right? She'll probably scout your property, maybe bring Tyler and his friends to check out the pool. The system will be watching. Sarah's doorbell rang. She looked toward the house, then back at the control device. David's voice was full of dark satisfaction. This should be interesting. Sarah hurried back to the house, the control device tucked under her arm. Through the front window, she could see Karen standing on her porch, still wearing the pink tracksuit and holding a manila envelope. "Sarah, sweetie," Karen called out when the door opened. "I have the survey documents for you. I thought you might want to see the official measurements." "I don't want to see anything from you." "Oh, don't be like that." Karen's smile was poisonous. "We're going to be sharing so much space now. We should try to get along. Tyler's graduation party is June 15th. We'll need the pool area, set up by noon. I've already ordered the catering and sent invitations to the whole neighborhood." Sarah's grip tightened on the control device. "You sent invitations to use my pool." "Our pool," Karen corrected. "Since you've been using my land illegally, I think it's only fair that we share resources. Besides, everyone's so excited. The Hendersons are bringing their famous potato salad, and the Johnsons are handling the music. You invited the entire neighborhood to my backyard, to our shared space. This is about bringing the neighborhood together." Sarah's phone buzzed. A text from David. "System fully online. Perimeter secure. Let the games begin." "I need you to leave my property," Sarah said quietly. "Your property," Karen laughed. "Sweetie, you're confused about what belongs to whom. But don't worry, after the party, we'll work out a more permanent arrangement. Maybe we can take down the fence between our front yards, too. Really open up the space." Tyler lowered his phone. "Mom, tell her about the pool rules." "Oh yes, I've drafted some basic guidelines for pool usage. No glass containers, no pets. No loud music after 10 p.m. Standard stuff." Sarah's alarm clock screamed at 5:30 a.m., but she was already awake. She'd been lying in bed for hours, watching the control devices screen like a hawk watches prey. The motion sensors had been tracking activity in Karen's backyard since 4 a.m. early. Deliveries, party rentals, and what looked like a small army of teenagers setting up tables and decorations. The graduation party was today. Karen's invasion of Sarah's property was scheduled to begin in 6 hours. Sarah rolled out of bed and padded to her kitchen window. Karen's backyard looked like a festival ground. White tents dotted the lawn, tables groaned under the weight of catering equipment, and a DJ was setting up speakers that looked powerful enough to rattle windows 3 blocks away. Tyler and his friends were already in the pool currents, pool whooping and splashing like they owned the place, which according to Karen, they did. Sarah's phone buzzed. A text from her sister Lisa heard about the party from Mom. "Are you okay?" "Want me to come over?" Sarah typed back. "I'm fine. Actually looking forward to it." Lisa's response came immediately. "That doesn't sound like you. Are you sure you're okay?" Sarah looked at the control device, its screen showing red dots clustering. Around her property line, Karen's party guests were already arriving, and several were standing at the gap where Sarah's fence used to be, pointing at her pool and discussing something with animated gestures. "I'm more than okay," Sarah typed. "I'm ready." She spent the morning making her own preparations. Lots of coffee, a comfortable chair positioned where she could watch the backyard through her sliding glass door, the control device fully charged and within easy reach, and most importantly, a secure internet connection to live stream everything to her own social media accounts. If Karen wanted to make this a public spectacle, Sarah would give her a show she'd never forget. At 10 a.m., Karen appeared at the gap in the fence. She wasn't alone. Tyler was with her, along with 3 other teenagers Sarah didn't recognize. They were all carrying pool equipment floats, diving toys, and what looked like a portable sound system. "Testing, testing," Karen called out, her voice echoing across Sarah's backyard. "Sarah, honey, are you home? We're just going to do a quick setup check." Sarah watched from her kitchen window as Karen led her advanced team onto the pool deck. The woman moved with the confidence of someone who'd never faced real consequences. For her actions, she directed the teenagers to different areas of the yard, pointing out where tables should go and where the DJ should set up his equipment. "Tyler, put the speakers over there by the deep end," Karen ordered, "and make sure the extension cords reach the house. We'll need power for the lights later." "Whose house?" one of the teenagers asked. "Don't worry about it," Karen said dismissively. Sarah's being very accommodating about the whole thing. Sarah's jaw clenched. She looked at the control device, its screen showing 5 red dots clustered around her pool. The system was tracking them, calculating trajectories, waiting for her command. Not yet, she told herself. Let them get comfortable. Let them think they've won. Karen spent 20 minutes directing her setup crew, treating Sarah's backyard like her personal party venue. She tested the sound system, adjusted the positioning of pool floats, and even used Sarah's outdoor shower to rinse chlorine off her hands. "Perfect," Karen announced. "This is going to be absolutely perfect. Tyler, honey, make sure you get video of everything. I want to document this day for posterity." Tyler was already recording his phone, capturing every moment of their unauthorized invasion. "Mom, this is so cool. Sarah's pool is way better than ours. It's our pool now, too. Everyone should share resources." Sarah's phone rang. David's name flashed on the screen. "Are you watching this?" he asked without preamble. "I'm watching. She's on your property. Right now, setting up for a party you never agreed to host. This is beyond trespassing. This is hostile occupation." Sarah kept her voice calm. "I know. The system is armed and ready. One command from you, and they'll be running for cover." "Not yet. What are you waiting for?" Sarah watched Karen inspect the pool equipment, testing the underwater lights and adjusting the pool temperature like she was preparing her own backyard for guests. The woman's sense of entitlement was staggering. "I'm waiting for the right moment," Sarah said, "when it will have maximum impact. The longer you wait, the more comfortable they'll get. Pretty soon, they'll think they actually own the place. Let them think that. Let them get completely comfortable. Let them invite all their friends and turn this into the social event of the summer." Sarah's voice was steady, but her eyes were cold. "When I spring the trap, I want maximum witnesses." David was quiet for a moment. "You've changed. Karen changed me. 3 years of harassment, intimidation, and legal threats. She wanted to see what I'd do when pushed to my limit. Now she'll find out." Karen's voice drifted through the window. "Sarah, sweetie, can you come out here for a minute?" Sarah ended the call and walked to the sliding door. Karen was standing by the pool, hands on her hips, looking like she owned the place. "What do you want, Karen?" "I just wanted to go over the ground rules for tonight. We'll try to keep the noise down, but you know how teenagers are. The party should wrap up by midnight, maybe 1 a.m. at the latest. Ground rules? Just basic stuff. No glass containers in the pool, area safety first, no pets, obviously, and we'll need access to your bathroom facilities. Tyler's friends drink a lot of water." Sarah stared at her. "You want to use my bathroom? Just the powder room. We're not savages." Karen's laugh was like nails on a chalkboard. "Oh, and we'll need to use your kitchen for ice. The coolers won't. Keep everything cold for 12 hours. My kitchen, just for ice, sweetie. Maybe some extra counter space if the caterers need it." "Really, you're being so accommodating about this whole thing. I knew we could work something out." Tyler looked up from his phone. Mom, tell her about the cleanup fee. Oh, right, there will be a small cleanup fee. Nothing major, just $50 to cover the cost of pool cleaning and yard maintenance after the party. I'll send you a Venmo request tomorrow. Sarah's vision blurred. A cleanup fee. For the privilege of having her property invaded and destroyed by people she'd never invited? $50, she repeated. It's very reasonable. Professional pool cleaning costs twice that much. Really? I'm doing you a favor. And if I refuse, Karen's smile turned predatory. Oh, sweetie, I don't think you want to refuse. Not when we're finally getting along so well. Besides, the whole neighborhood is coming. It would be such a shame if things got ... unpleasant. The threat was subtle but clear. Refuse to cooperate, and Karen would make sure the entire neighborhood knew about it. She'd paint Sarah as the unreasonable neighbor who ruined Tyler's graduation party. The social pressure would be overwhelming. I understand, Sarah said quietly. I knew you would. This is going to be such a wonderful evening. You're welcome to join us, of course. It's technically your backyard, too. Sarah nodded and went back inside, leaving Karen to finish her preparations. The control device was waiting on her kitchen counter, its screen showing the 5 red dots still clustered around her pool. The system was ready. The water cannons were armed. All she had to do was give the command. But she didn't, not yet. At noon, the first party guests arrived. The Hendersons from down the street, carrying their famous potato salad. The Johnsons with their portable speakers. The Garcias with a cooler full of drinks. Within an hour, Sarah's backyard was packed, with neighbors she barely knew, all acting like they'd been personally invited to the social event of the summer. The control device showed 23 red dots now, scattered across her property. 23 people who thought they had the right to use her pool, her yard, her facilities. 23 people who were about to learn a very expensive lesson about boundaries. Sarah made herself a sandwich and settled into her chair by the window. The party was in full swing now. Tyler and his friends were cannonballing into the pool while adults clustered around the makeshift bar Karen had set up using Sarah's patio furniture. The DJ was playing music loud enough to wake the dead, and several neighbors were dancing. On Sarah's pool deck, her phone buzzed constantly. Text messages from friends who'd heard about the party through social media. Facebook notifications from people tagging her in photos of the event happening in her own backyard. Instagram stories showing her pool, her yard, her property being used by people who'd never asked permission. The humiliation was complete. Karen had turned Sarah's private space into a public venue, and the entire neighborhood was complicit. In the violation, at 2 p.m., Karen knocked on Sarah's sliding door. Sorry to bother you, hon, but we need more ice, and maybe some extra towels. The kids are going through them pretty fast. Sarah opened the door. Of course, anything else? Well, since you're asking, could we use your grill? The caterers forgot to bring propane, and Tyler's been looking forward to burgers all week. My grill? I'll pay for the propane, obviously. Maybe an extra $20 for the inconvenience. Sarah looked past Karen at her backyard, where dozens of strangers were using her pool, sitting on her furniture, and treating her property like a public park. The DJ had set up his equipment. Next to her prized rose garden and several teenagers were U.S.